some clients and they start giving you feedback that you can show to other people, you can easily be making 50 to 100,000 a month. And some people are concerned about freelancing because it might be seasonal, and there's not always work to do. And yeah, there's downtime, but I don't think I've ever been out of work for more than a few weeks, except for vacations. And if you're good at it, the amount you get paid makes up for the downtime. You just get more free time.
It sounds like that if you're good at it, experience, 4, 5, maybe 6 years of experience, and you're good at it, then you're able to, I guess, talk to people in a relatively good manner. That making over 50,000, 100,000 in income a month is not unusual. Would that be correct to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So that gives our audience an idea. If you do this for 5 or 6 years and you're pretty good at it, there's no reason why you can't be making 6 figures in your monthly income for this. Okay. So we gotta wrap this up real quick now because we're getting close to the end of our session. So let me ask the last question of you before we end, which is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a professional programmer? So this is like for our audience right now. They're mostly either high school or just got out of high school, young people, and they're thinking, should I be a professional programmer? And if they say, yes, I want to be a professional programmer, what advice would you give them now that they have not yet begun that career? What should they be doing now? And what advice would you give them to prepare themselves to become a professional programmer?
I'd say just go to code.org or codeacademy.com and just try it. They have puzzles, and it'll show you a little bit about what it means to think like a programmer. So see if you like it. You can find out today if software development is for you. There's no barrier to entry. Like, all the tools are free, and the things that aren't free probably aren't worth the money. So yeah, just try it. Go to code.org or codeacademy.com. See if it's for you, and if you like it, well, just keep doing it. And like, don't stress about what programming language to take or anything. You can always learn another. They're all the same. So
it sounds like, JC, I happen to share the same sentiment. Getting started as a professional programmer does not mean enrolling in a BS-IT or BS Computer Science degree program. That's not necessarily the way to start, although you can certainly do that. But it sounds to me like what you're saying is that try it out. First of all, determine whether it's something that you enjoy doing. Is it something that you like to do? And you can go to, as you said, code.org or Code Academy and try out the puzzles. They're free. Try out the puzzles there. See if you enjoyed the challenge of solving those puzzles. And if you like it, keep doing it. As JC said, just keep doing it. Okay. Well, thank you very much, JC. Thanks for sharing a bit of yourself and what you do. I'm really proud of my son because basically he's really the only one who's totally followed in my footsteps to become a programmer. And it's been fun seeing him go in that profession, and I can be equally proud of any of you that decide to take this on as a career path for yourself. So thank you very much for listening. As I said, Jason will be joining the panel right after this, so you can ask him questions then. In the meantime, thank you for your attention and have a nice day. Goodbye.
All right, a father and son programmers. Thank you very much, Mr. Joey and JC Garango, for that very interesting talk. All right, and thank you also for answering some of the questions in our chat box. All right, to manage the time, so our speakers will try their best to answer your questions by replying to the chat box. But kung di man nila masagot, JC is also part of the panel discussion later, so he can address some of the questions sa discussion. All right. Okay, so as mentioned, like yesterday, we want this seminar to be interactive and engaging. So please do share your questions to our speakers about their presentations, their talks, your thoughts, and even messages of support to them. Please go ahead, send them in. So even shout outs or greetings to your colleagues, teachers, professors, go ahead. i-greet namin sila for you guys. So, also, we'd love to see your posts on social media, especially sa Twitter. So, kung magpo-post man kayo, please use the hashtag Y4IT 2021. Alright, guys? So, napansin ko ngayong pandemic, no, mas nauso ngayon ang video games. Tama ba? Sino ba dito ang mga naglalaro ngayon ng online games or video games? Ayan. Alright, ayan si John, si Jewel Jade, si Irina, si Paul, hi, June Matino, Kyle Fernando, Jamil, si Janine, naglalaro sila. Ayan, si Rick. Hello, Jobert. Naglalaro din si Jobert Laberte, Joshua Lakap. O yan, ang dami talagang gamers dito sa atin. So, for sure, I'm so sure marami naglalaro dito ng Mobile Legends. Sino familiar sa Mobile Legends? Wild Rift, Call of Duty, League of Legends, Dota 2, and Valorant. At saka marami pang iba, right? Okay, sige. Gusto ko makita sino dito ang naglalaro ng Mobile Legends. Magbigay naman kayo ng smiling emoji. Yes, Genshin Impact. Yeah, naglalaro yung brother ko no. Si Russell, si Jexter, si Joy, si Mary. They're all playing Mobile Legends. Alright, okay. How about naman ng mga naglalaro ng Wild Rift? Bigay naman kayo ng thumbs up dyan. Wild Rift. Si Sean, si Paul, Angelica, John, si Angelo, si Nars. Hi, Jerome. Nag-stop na raw siya mag-play. Si John Daniel. Okay, you're all playing Wild Rift. Okay. How about yung COD, Call of Duty? Sino naglalaro ng Call of Duty? Ayan si Vincent, si John Gray, si Orange, Vince, si John. Okay, send kayo ng heart react for COD. Heart react si Justin, si Paul, si Patrick, si Joshua. Hello, yan, naglalaro ng COD. Alright, and lastly, mag-share naman kayo ng inyong, not lastly, second to the last. How about Dota? Sino mga naglalaro ng Dota? Winking smile naman sa mga naglalaro ng Dota. Si Ace, si Herman, si Junirex. Okay, wow, you love Dota. Okay, Dino, Case, alright. Last na game natin ay Valorant. Sinong familiar at naglalaro sa Valorant? Tingi naman ng laugh react. Ayun, si Paul, si Joshua, si Peter, hi Eden, Rafi, Christine. Naglalaro ng Valorant. Okay. Alright, so, yes, Adrian, Valorant number one. Alright, number one, ang Valorant. Alright, okay. So, you might be wondering bakit ako nagtatanong about the games, no? Online games na nilalaro ngayon. Because our next speaker is the chairman of the Game Developers Association of the Philippines. Let's all welcome none other than Mr. Alvin Uban.
Hi guys, good morning. Monique, is my audio coming in okay?
Yes, can hear you clearly.
Okay, I'm present. All right. Good morning. Thank you for having me sa Y4IT. Medyo mahirap lang yung status ko ngayon dahil ang sinusundan ko speaker is the great Joey Gurano. Joey, I miss you. I hope to see you face to face very soon. That's the ultimate idol. Hindi ka nga dalawa lang naging boss niyan. Pareho pang legendary sa mundo. So, well, me, I'm a service guy, and in the video game industry in the Philippines, I've been serving the association for over 10 years. Over 10 years. The 10 years I served the association was as president. And after 10 years, they decided my association friends could not kick me out, so they kicked me upwards. So now they're chairman. So I still am quite active in the industry. So let me share my screen with you as I tell you more about the video game industry in the Philippines, because that's one thing. A lot of Filipinos are surprised that there is even a video game industry in the Philippines. Usually kasi ang mainit lang, like when pagtanong ni Monique kanina, Mobile Legends, Valorant, COD, lahat yan. Yan naman na alam ng mga karamihan ng tao. Yung mga games na nilalaro sa Pilipinas talaga. Pero lahat ng minention ni Monique kanina, lahat yun, wala. Tama doon. Ibig sabihin, I was never part of their production team. So I'll share with you my experience, and then hopefully I can share with you some tips, some tricks, just in case you want to engage and challenge yourself to be part of the growing video game industry in the Philippines. So give me a minute. So first, let's see. I'm gonna show you a YouTube clip of what I mostly do during the day. Here we go. So proudly, I share that clip because it was part of a game that we just finished around almost 2 years ago, called Gears of War 5. And that scene, or that map that you just saw, the amazing thing about it is Filipinos made it. You know, in a console game or a triple A game, it takes hundreds of people, to do a project. And that's why I like using that scene and that map. Kachamba Chamba, it was my team from the Philippines who was assigned to do that entire map. So I hope it gives you an idea on the global class level of quality of our talent in video games. It's hard to show the engineering expertise, but it's easier to show the art expertise of the Philippines coming from my eyes. And so next, all right. So to tell you about our video game industry and myself, so I do work for a studio. The studio I work for is called Synergy 88. Medyo bata pa ang Synergy 88. It's 6 years old. So this is only the second studio I've been working for, and now for Synergy, my role is studio director. And most of what I do under Synergy 88 is very, very art heavy. It's very, very art heavy. It's mostly about the 3D arts. And if you've noticed during this pandemic, during this lockdown, ang swerteng negosyo talaga is everything that was digital. It's everything that was online that actually had growth. And the amazing thing about video games, since the entire world was trapped in their houses for over a year, can you believe that the video game industry garnered 3 years worth, 3 years worth of new consumers, of new users? So actually now, the biggest games in the world of last year just got bigger. So since the games are getting bigger, there's more funding. Can you imagine that? During the pandemic, more funding was received for newer projects, the next sequel of a project, because video games actually flourished. It wasn't struggling during the pandemic, which is good for people like us. So that's why I was very excited when they asked me to talk. So Y4IT, because you guys are students and you're now trying to chart your path in life, and we just proven, the guys doing online work in the digital sphere, that we are pretty much pandemic proof. Just for that, just for that, maybe you should really take a serious look at your options. We don't know what the future will hold in terms of health and health insecurity. So again, I hope you take a lot of time and take it seriously about listening to the experiences of the speakers of your event, and jot down the tips and tricks. You might like some. So on my part, I've been able to be part of a few AAA games way back when, over a decade ago. I was doing games for PlayStation. I was part of a team that did some work for Uncharted 3 and the famous Last of Us as well. My name is there. Most of you, siguro, at your age range, what you what you experienced or what you hear about nowadays is the sequel, The Last of Us 2. So I was part of the first one. And then another globally winning game was Witcher 3. So we had a small part of that as well. And the very, very famous Cyberpunk, uh, our team had a part in that as well. But we really made our mark for Synergy. We really made our mark when we hit the deal with Microsoft, with Xbox. And we started off with Gears of War 4. And eventually, as the years rolled by, we were part of we already became the major team for Gears 5. And its additional game, additional DLC called Hiding Busters. So yeah, and imagine in a decade, I've been able to be part of these global projects. And what we proved is it doesn't matter where you are from. You know, global talent is global talent as long as you do some things well. So this picture, it's actually a snapshot I took of a conference in 2018. It's one of the biggest video game conferences. And why I'm sharing it with you, this was a slide used by one of the employees of our client. And he goes, well, our teams are scattered around the world. And it was projected on screen. And and it was, all these countries had these yellow dots. Those were where the teams were. There were engineering teams, QA teams all around the world. And I just became so happy because when that yellow dot fell on the Philippines, I could stand up and claim, that's my yellow dot. We are the first Microsoft certified provider of art in the Philippines. And till this day, I'm so tickled and proud that we did that because look, we're part of the Microsoft lab. Um, but even if we do AAA, I Synergy 88 is part of a conglomerate of companies. We even do games locally, and some of you might have heard, and this will be a surprise to a lot of people, that it was actually us who were behind this little chain of games for Will to Play. So as everyone knows, Willie is one of the most famous TV personalities we have. He has a daily show and it gratifies a lot of its users with gifts almost on a daily basis. So our solution was to enable his fans and followers to keep on playing games even after the TV show through a mobile platform. We do have a lot of users right now, and it's still rising. And as an IT person, I'd like to share with you how a simple strategy on how we did this. Now, take it to heart if you're in IT and you're going to develop applications or programs. That is very, very important to learn how to discern the approach, how to investigate and, come up with practical solutions when given a task. Now, this one is supposed to be played by Filipinos in the Philippines. And the Philippines, one thing that we know about the Philippines is our infrastructure is very challenged. Our internet is not the best. And again, most phones in the mass market are on the lower end, limited yung storage nila, and it's prepaid. So very, very limited yung mga capacities nila. So we had to design this platform because it had to be usable for the fans of Willie. Which is the fans of Willie are 10 million. 10 million. So when we were designing it, I had to push and say that, whatever we do, the end product should hover around only 50 megabytes. Because that, I believe, is most palatable or more acceptable file size when you're actually pushing games to the Filipinos. And these are very casual games. We're not talking about Mobile Legends or anything like